afternoon, everyone. My name is Heather, also known as Nutrition Vixen. I'm here today. It's that time of year. Everyone's going to be preparing for the holidays. And of course, the question is, what do we make? So I'm here to show you a couple healthy alternatives to the traditional Thanksgiving dishes. Today we're going to make twice baked cauliflower garlic mash. For this recipe, all you will need is a head of cauliflower. We're going to use some green onion for garnishing the top for the baked part. I'm using Kerrygold butter, which is a grass-fed butter from Ireland. This one is my absolute favorite. Instead of the low-fat cream cheese that most people are used to using, we're going to be using a full-fat cream cheese for our dish. And then we've got some shredded Monterey Jack cheese and some herbs. So this is garlic, pepper, and salt. That's what we'll be using today. As far as tools, you'll need a food processor. If you don't have a food processor, you can use just a regular blender or use a hand masher or a electric mixer if you have that also. All right, so the first thing you want to do is preheat your oven to 400 degrees so that by the time we have all of this ready to go, we can just toss it into the oven and get it going. What you do is take your head of cauliflower and cut it into smaller chunks, about 2-inch or so pieces. So I'm going to break these off into smaller pieces so that we can throw them into a pot of boiling water. It takes about 6 minutes for them to cook. That way we can throw them into the food processor and they'll mash easily. But you don't want to cut them too small. If you cut them too small, it'll be difficult to fish them out of the pot of boiling water. They almost become like disintegrated into a liquid, so we don't want that. All right, so I'm going to take these and then transfer them into the pot of boiling water, which I've already got going over here. So I'm going to carefully remove the cauliflower from the pot of boiling water. I'm going to use a slotted spoon. I'm going to use a slotted spoon, and then I'm going to carefully place it on a paper towel to allow any excess water to drain off so that when we transfer it to the food processor, it won't be too liquidy. It'll have a nice creamy texture. So I'm just going to pat the tops, remove any of that excess water. I think it's pretty good. And we're going to throw it into a food processor. So I've got the larger barrel on this. Once I've added all the cauliflower, I'm also going to add in the other ingredients except for the stuff that's going to go on top of it to make it that twice baked. The nice thing about this cauliflower is it doesn't take a lot of additional liquid to give it that creamy texture, which will help save on some calories. I'm going to go ahead and start it for a second, and then I'm going to add the butter and the cream cheese to it. So for this recipe, you'll need 2 ounces of full-fat cream cheese. We're going to use 2 tablespoons of Kerrygold butter. Why is that important? It's because it's higher in omega-3. Being that it's from grass-fed cows, they have a higher omega-3 content, which is good for all of us when it comes to reducing inflammation and protecting our heart. I'm going to also add in the spices, which are the a half a teaspoon of Himalayan sea salt. I've got a 1/4 teaspoon of ground black pepper, and then I also have 1 tablespoon of garlic powder. So put all that in there. I'm going to turn it back on and allow it to go for about 2 minutes, and then we'll transfer it into the baking dish. Our cauliflower mash is ready to go and to be transferred into a baking stone. You don't need to grease or anything this. I'm just going to transfer it directly in here. All right, so I'm just going to spoon it in here. Look at how delicious that is. Oh, that texture is beautiful. The kids will never know that this is cauliflower and not their traditional mashed potatoes that they're used to eating. I've tricked many family members with this one. All right, so I'm just gonna make it all pretty. I'm going to top it with the cheese. So this is a 1/3 cup of Colby Jack and Monterey cheese. And I'm going to toss this into the oven for about 5 to 10 minutes, depending on how long it takes to get a nice little brown on the top so it looks like a twice baked potato. And then we'll pull it out. So our twice baked cauliflower mash is ready to go. So for the final touch, we're going to add some chopped green onion for garnish, and then it will be ready to serve. One other great thing about this dish is this is one that if you don't eat all of it, it's great for putting in the refrigerator and having for leftovers later in the week. A perfect combination would be mini meatloafs with this dish. Hope you enjoy.